Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this fine Sunday morning here in the Midwest in Columbus, Ohio. Coming live to you this morning, ready to do our edition of Talking Sports Sunday, where we'll be discussing the NFL preseason, also some college football fall camp news. I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Please make sure that when you come in, you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber already, that will really help us to grow this channel. We're really trying to bring as much content to the people as possible, especially since we are entering into the football season, the season where, we get super, super excited about football and our teams and who they're playing, who they're competing against, whether it be little league football, whether it be high school football, whether it be college football, or whether it be the NFL. This is an exciting season for those of us who really like sports and like the game of football. So if you're in here, make sure that you hit the like button, make sure that you subscribe, and make sure that you share our videos with those family members and friends that you have that like to watch sports content. We really, really, really would appreciate your help in doing that. Today, we want to talk a little bit about the NFL to start off with and what's been taking place in the preseason. Of course, as you can see on my shirt, I'm a huge Tennessee Titans fan. I was an old school Houston Oilers fan back in the late 70s, is when I started to love the game of football. And the Houston Oilers was my team of choice back in the days when they had Billy White Shoes Johnson, Dan Pastorini, Robert Brazil. The year before they drafted my favorite player of all times, Earl Campbell, who is the reason why I also like the Texas Longhorns. Seeing him play when I was 7, 8 years old, I developed a liking for the Texas Longhorns and really the state of Texas. I don't know why I had that fascination with the state of Texas, but I did all of my elementary school reports on the Lone Star State. So I really had a love for the state of Texas, even though I live in Columbus, Ohio. Uh, I never wanted to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, though. So here I am on this Sunday morning, ready to talk about the NFL and also about some college football. So let's go ahead and get in some of the questions that we have on the docket. And if you're in the chat, please put some questions in the chat for us as well. How's your team looking so far during preseason? Um, my Tennessee Titans are looking pretty good. I'm really impressed with Cam Moore and his leadership and what he brings to the Titans organization. I seen that this young man dropped one of his passes in the preseason game yesterday, a pass that he should have caught and possibly could have took it to the house. Um, but when you have a great leader, and even though Cam Ward is a rookie, he knows how to command the team. He works hard. He's in there at 5 a.m., the first one in, the last one to leave. He understands what a leadership role should look like. And I'm very impressed with that young man. I'm impressed with what the Titans have around him. Of course, they're going to probably have to add some pieces since they did get rid of the wide receiver Burke that they had drafted in the first round a couple of years ago. They're probably going to have to get somebody to replace him. But I think they're going to be okay. They have a decent running back room with Pollard. The offensive line is decent, and I think they're going to be much better than they were last year. I don't think they will get the number one pick this year. So I'm impressed with what my Tennessee Titans are doing. I don't believe that they're going to win the division or anything like that, but I think they're going to be much better than they were last year. They definitely won't be 2-15 and getting the number one pick. But I'm impressed with Cam Ward and what he's been able to do. There's several teams that I've been impressed with in this offseason. I don't understand how the Philadelphia Eagles have been able to keep on adding all of these young pieces to their team to make them so dynamic on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They have a two deep that could be starters at other places, man. They got really talented players and they draft really well. That's a really smart organization, much smarter than my Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA because they draft really well at the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a two deep that really could be starters in other places, like I said earlier. I'm impressed with what they've been able to do. Even though the Cleveland Browns were able to beat them yesterday in the preseason, you can see the talent um, that they have on that roster, and they'll probably win that division again. I know that the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. I'm sorry. I understand that they might be going back to that other name, but the Washington Commanders um, have on their teams as well. They're going to be really good. That's going to be a really tough division. Hopefully, Russell Wilson uh, can do the things he needs to do for the Giants to have them relevant as well. That's that division and the division with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and Cleveland Browns. I think are probably the two best divisions, top to bottom, in the NFL. So I was impressed with that Philadelphia Eagles group, even though they lost to the Browns. Um, so that I'm impressed with those two teams. My Titans are playing better than what I expected under Cam Ward being a first year quarterback who has really commanded that team. He has really said some things and done some things that allows the people in that organization to really trust what he can do on the field. And the players, even the veterans, they respect him because of what he brings to the table with his work ethic, with the fact that he's the first one in the building and the last one to leave. And everybody who plays sports, you want a guy like that on your team leading you in the organization. Are there any players who are trying to make the team that you really like? Um, there are some guys out there who are trying to make some teams, but I'm more. I was more. My my thoughts were more on the players who were drafted in the first round to see if they are possibly going to be starters on teams. And there's some players out there that are really playing really well. Travis Hunter played really well on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's mainly where they have him playing. He played really well in his preseason game. Yes, the other day. Um, I'm impressed with what Shador Sanders did in Week 1. Hopefully, he can come back from that abdomen strain and be able to give Cleveland Browns a real strong push at that quarterback position to vie for a starting role with the Cleveland Browns. Um, Quinn Ewers redeemed himself from what he did in Week 1, which was a disaster. And I'm a huge Quinn Ewers fan, being a Texas Longhorns fan. He played really well yesterday. 7 of 11, 112 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Miami Dolphins, who have a system that is probably the best system for him to be in with his skill set. So hopefully he can continue to grow and make some headway there. Um, Ashton Genty got his first touchdown the preseason. So I'm excited about what he's going to be able to do over there with Geno Smith. and Brock Bowers. I'm impressed with the two rookies over there in Atlanta, uh, edge rusher James Pierce and um, Jalen Walker. I'm impressed with those two guys. They're going to bring some noise for the Atlanta Falcons in that team on that defensive side of the ball. I'm impressed with those two guys. Of course, my man Andrew Makuba had two turnovers yesterday, and he's been hampered with some injuries and missed some time during the preseason. But he was able to get a pick six yesterday, took it to the house against the Browns, 75 yards, and he also recovered a fumble yesterday. He was the bright spot defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday because they played a lot of young players. They didn't play much of their starters. Uh, it was good to see Andrew Makuba, which I felt like Andrew Makuba was going to fight for a starting job over there at Philadelphia at the safety position when they drafted him. I said this guy is going to be able to get in that organization, show them how he works, and he's possibly going to be able to make that roster and definitely possibly be a starter, which, as you can tell, he's going to make some noise and make it real tough on the defensive coordinator to decide if they're going to start Andrew Makuba or the guy he's battling with. I can't recall his name right now. So I was impressed with him. Emeka Ibuka out of Ohio State. I'm impressed with what he's been able to do. And we already knew this guy was the ultimate professional when he was at Ohio State, coming back for another year and being able to lead that wide receiver room at Ohio State, knowing that Jeremiah Smith was coming in as a true freshman, being able to show him the ropes and show him what it's like to be a big time college football player. He waited his turn. He didn't transfer out. Uh, got picked in the first round, which I thought maybe he was a second round pick, but hey, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers felt like this guy is a first round pick and he's out there performing as such. And he's going to be a good addition with Mike Evans and oh man, his name slips my mind. Godwin. So those are going to be a solid unit right there with Emeka Ibuka out there with them. So I'm excited about what he's been able to do. Let me see if there's anybody else out there that I saw and I liked what I saw out of them. Um, it's not coming to me right now, but anyway, I'm impressed with all those guys that I just mentioned. And if you didn't catch that part of the video, you can always go back and check it out later on. Before I go to the next question, you see scrolling across the bottom, you see all the channels that we have. We got our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports Team. We got our man FanDuel Zaya. We got our man Parlay Poe of Blitzburg. We got our man Post Game 86. His channel was screaming across the bottom. And then, of course, you're tuning in right now to WTP Sports Dudes, which is at WTP for Life. And so if you could subscribe to all of those channels, that would be great. The next question that we had is Shador Sanders looked good in week one and Dylan Gabriel looked good in week two. Is this a good sign the Browns will have a quarterback of the future? Um, I think both of those players played really, really well when they were given their opportunities. It was good to see Dylan Gabriel get out there yesterday. Even though he has a slight hamstring, he was still able to step up in the pocket, extend some plays a little bit, and find guys on some of those crossing routes, some of those slant routes, keeping his head up. Um, I think that if he did not have a hamstring injury, he could have ran for a couple of first downs and kept a couple of their drives alive. But it's preseason. There's no need to put that kind of stress on his hamstring. But I like what I saw out of him. He probably should have threw away that ball on that pick six. by Andrew McCool. Probably should just do that in the stands and had an opportunity to play another down. So he'll learn that, and on the handoff, you got to make sure that he secures that handoff into the running back's belly so that they don't have a miscue like that. But outside of that, he played really, really well. I was impressed with his poise in the pocket and his delivery of the ball. He was throwing some catchable balls. There were some times when I thought he might have short armed it, but it could have just been because the defense was there and you don't want to put the ball in harm's way. Um, and get another pick. So uh, all of those things were excusable, in my opinion. Shedeur Sanders in week one, I liked what I saw out of him. He's going to have some time to grow. Hopefully, this abdomen strain isn't to the level that it was for Quinn Ewers. And you know how Quinn Ewers had to sit out a couple of games during his college year last year. So hopefully this doesn't hamper Shedeur Sanders to the degree that it did Quinn Ewers, and he can come back and be ready to play next week in their final uh, preseason game. I think that the fact that they brought in Tyler Huntley is a sign that they want to secure a veteran guy who could possibly spell the team for a while to help them, manage some games until either Joe Flacco can become the man or Pickett. Uh, Pickett, I think it's Pickett. Yeah, can become the man. Is it Pickens or Pickett? One of those. He can come back and get healthy again because I think that's probably who they want to start off the season until these two young guys can be ready to command the team. But I think that either one of them are going to be the team of the player of the future, the quarterback of the future for the Browns. If I had to choose one, of course, I would choose Shedeur Sanders. I think he has a better upside than Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's a smaller guy, doesn't have as big an arm. Not that Shedeur Sanders has a big arm, because he doesn't, but he can get the ball down the field well enough, and he has some good accuracy as well. He maybe holds the ball a little bit too long, but he'll learn that in the NFL that the clock is a lot quicker than it is in college football. But I like what they have at the quarterback position at the Browns, and I think that they'll be able to find a guy for their future. Sure. Another question that we have. The NFL has a nice model they use when teams go scrimmage their preseason opponent for 2 days, and then they go and have their preseason game. Will we see scrimmages in college? Um, I really like that model that the NFL use. They know I got okay. Well, we got a preseason game this week. Like you say, for instance, the Cleveland Browns. They know they go into Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. They get there and they have two scrimmages, uh, practices together, and they go over some things, and then they have their preseason game. I think a lot of times that's very beneficial for teams to get their teams prepared because I'm glad they went away from the 4 preseason games to 3. And I think this is an opportunity for the college game to really adopt something similar to it, especially when you got other teams that are in the state where your university is at. Like, say, for instance, Colorado was trying to go across the country to scrimmage Syracuse. Of course, the NCAA didn't allow that to happen. But in my opinion, I think that they should have just went ahead and did it. Because what was the NCAA going to do? I mean, of course, you want to respect the authority that is in place. But I mean, it wasn't like they would have done anything. But like, say, for instance, in Florida, you have so many teams in Florida to where I think Florida State, Miami, Florida, they could go and scrimmage some of those smaller Florida schools and just get another look at what their team looks like and allow those smaller schools to get a look at how their team looks against some Power Four schools. Because you got UCF there, you got FAMU there, you got a lot of different universities in Florida, in Texas, in California, on the West Coast, on the East Coast, where you don't have to travel a great distance in order to get these scrimmages in. And I think that the college football game should go ahead and adopt that model. I don't think that Texas and Texas Tech will probably ever play again, but that will be two good scrimmage opponents. Well, maybe not because it's a love, it's a hate relationship between them two. Somebody might go out there and do something ill will, and somebody get hurt. But I think that, if you're in the state of Texas, you can find a North Texas, a UTSA that's not on your schedule to go and scrimmage and get some work in. I think that will benefit both ball clubs. And I think you will start to see scrimmages in college football going forward. As soon as teams just go ahead and realize that it's in the best interest of the teams to be able to do that. Um, and I think you'll start to see that here in the near future. What updates can you give us about your college team this fall? Well, yesterday I did a video, and you can go check it out on Texas's second scrimmage that they had. Um, so if you get a chance, you can go check that one out. But I'll give you some more tidbits about Texas and what they're looking like in fall camp. They got a really nice three deep at the defensive tackle position. They got a solid six guys that they can rotate there. Marad Watson went out of yesterday's scrimmage yesterday uh, with an injury, but it's not an injury he could not have came back and played if we were playing an actual game. He could have came back and played in the game, so he wasn't hurt to that degree that he could not have kept going. They just held him out just because that's the smart thing to do. So we're looking really good at the defensive tackle position. I think we probably got the best edge rush room in the country. When you got Colin Simmons, you got Colton Bostic, you got Ethan Burke, you got Neto's younger brother, Zena Yu. You got Spence that you can spin down at the pass rush position. If you needed to spin down Trey Moore from the linebacker position, you could do that as well. They got a lot of guys that they can really rush the passer. Lance Jackson is going to be a monster in the future. He's a true freshman. So their edge rush, defensive end room is probably, like I said, the best in the country. And if those guys stay healthy, they're going to be a heck. There will be a lot to deal with, and then also Justice Terry, who is a true freshman as well. Him and Lance Jackson, they're going to find their way on the field where they're going to get several plays a game, so that they can get their feet wet, especially in those games where we played in our non-conference after the Ohio State game. Those next three games, they're going to have an opportunity to really get some burn, and you're going to be excited at what you see there. In terms of some other teams and from the other fellas that's on our channel um, that you see scrolling across the bottom, my man Mossberg of Level Up Sports Team, FanDuel, Zaya, Parlay Poe, uh, Post Game, and myself. The Florida State Seminoles, they're trying to rebound from what they did last season, going 2-10. They're looking pretty good over there with their. They got a quarterback that transferred in, so they're excited about that. But they also got a young quarterback that they think will be able to get some playing time, so that they can have a quarterback that they can rely on if Castellano gets hurt. They got some receivers. They got a good offensive line. They got a good defensive line. They got some edge guys. The biggest concern is there two new coordinators? Is Malzahn going to be more run heavy, uh, which we believe he will be because that's his MO, and will their defensive coordinator be able to have his defensive backs uh, engaged and ready to make some noise because they got some talent on that Florida State team. And if you get a chance, you can go back and watch Mossberg's on Level Up Sports 10, his preview of his Florida State Seminoles. As far as the Ohio State Buckeyes, we did that preview yesterday, so you can find that video as well with our man FanDuel Zaya. We did that yesterday morning, where he gave us a whole lot of insight, some great content on his Ohio State Buckeyes and how they look, especially at those positions where they lost a lot of their talent. Well, a lot of their uh, uh, seniors who decided to go on to the NFL. Their two edge rushers. They lost a defensive tackle as well. And he said they're looking really, really good at all those positions. And of course, it's the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're going to always reload and always have talent on their team. Of course, they're going to break in some new starters at corner and at the safety position, but they still got the number one safety, I believe, in the country in Caleb Downs. I think he's the best safety in the country. And I think that if their new defensive coordinator, Mike Patricia, can get those guys up to speed with his style of play, and that they don't make too many changes to what they've done in the past, they should be really, really good on defense. We'll definitely get to see that week one. Even though I think Texas and Ohio State, they're gonna have some things that they do, but they're not going to show you a whole lot in week one because it's a game that is not a conference game. So the loser, even though it's a loss, it's not a huge loss because it's the first game of the season one, and then it's a non-conference game. So I think both of those teams are going to hold back a lot and save it for when they get into conference play. But as far as Ohio State offensively, they have a really good wide receiver room. They still got a quarterback not controversy competition going on between King Holst and Julian Sang. And we believe that Ryan Day is going to announce who his starter is going to be tomorrow, which it will be Monday. So we'll know who's going to be the quarterback getting those first team reps when they put in their install for Texas in game one. I'm hoping that it's Julian Sang. I think that he gives them the best chance to win. And I think that he should be the guy that starts at that position. But we'll find out on Monday from Ryan Day if that's the case. Of course, we already know what their wide receiver room is like. They got the best wide receiver in the country in Jeremiah Smith, in my opinion. And I think he's going to have a dynamic season this year again as a true sophomore. Their offensive line, they're doing some patchwork there. But like I said earlier, it's the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're going to always have guys in that organization that's going to be able to plug and play. So I don't have any concerns about the Ohio State team being ready for this 2025 season. Also, our man Parlay Poe is a Michigan fan. And those of us out there who got to see the ruling and the punishment for them, we shouldn't have expected anything any different than what they got. They already had suspended Harbaugh 2 years before when they won the national championship. So they had already got out in front of it. And if you don't already know, the NCAA really doesn't have the teeth that they used to have. I mean, when you look back on it, you think about the situation with the University of North Carolina, with they had that academic scandal that they had, where they were fixing grades and all that kind of stuff. What did the NCAA do to them? Next to nothing, right? Then when you go back and you look at what took place at Baylor with all that whole rape scandal stuff, what did they really do with that? They got rid of the coach, but what else was really done by the NCAA? You know, if you think that sign stealing is worse than grades and worse than Now they all are bad. They all are considered cheating, but I mean, there's levels to this thing. If you think that that is bad, and you know they should have done something to North Carolina, they should have done something more egregious to Baylor, and then when we get to Penn State and the whole situation with Sandusky, I think that's his name, and what he was doing at Penn State, you know, and the NCAA really didn't do a whole lot to those teams. Now they did do a lot to USC when the whole thing with the running back Bush, you know, had him vacating those wins and things like that. But now when you look at it, I mean, nobody's really thinking about that. And USC is already rebounding. So the NCAA understands that, listen, this is a money thing right now, and we don't want to mess up this product that we got that's bringing in all this money. So they're not going to be punishing teams to the degree that we expect them to as fans. So I don't think anybody should be too upset about the fact that Michigan only got a fine and that their coach has to serve one more additional suspension of a game. I mean, what else were we expecting from the NCAA? So of course, like I was saying earlier, Parlay Poe is a Michigan fan, and he's excited about what they look like defensively. He's not 100% sure on what they're going to look like offensively, but he does know they're going to run the football really well with the running back they got from Alabama. They got a quarterback competition as well. Uh, Between the guy Davis, who was there last year, whose parents didn't want him to play last year, which I think hurt him because he had an opportunity to play for Michigan last year to get him some experience. And him not doing that because of at his parents' request, I think that really hurt him. And then of course the Superman Underwood, who they spent a lot of money to get there at Michigan. Eventually, I think he's going to be the starter if he doesn't start off as the season as the starter. But I think they're in pretty good shape because their defense is going to be really, really good. And then we got our man post game who likes the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and they have a quarterback battle as well between C.J. Carr and Minchie, and he believes that Minchie is going to win that job. Minchie has the better legs and probably gives them a much more dynamic offense because of the fact that he had legs and he can throw the ball fairly decent as well. And we all heard that C.J. Carr had 4 interceptions in one of their practices, and that's never good. But in his defense, the Notre Dame defensive backs and their defense is going to be lights out. Now, every team that I just named outside of Florida State are going to have really, really good defenses. Texas is going to have a really, really good defense. Notre Dame is going to have a really good defense. Ohio State is going to have a really, really good defense. And Michigan is going to have a really, really good defense. So all 4 of those teams, their defenses are going to be really, really key for them as their quarterbacks because I think all of them are starting a first-year quarterback are really going to be key for them, especially early in the season while their quarterbacks are trying to get up to speed. But I'm excited about this Notre Dame team. They got a really, really good offensive line. They got a two-headed monster at running back. They got some really good receivers. I really like Jaden Greyhouse, who I think should have went to Texas, but you know Notre Dame is a good spot. Notre Dame has some freshmen in that wide receiver room that's going to be coming in, that's in there now and that's going to be coming in, whose fathers are some great NFL players. So I know they're going to be excited about what their wide receiver room is going to be looking like going forward. So Notre Dame is going to be one of those solid teams, and you know all these teams are ranked in the top 20 outside of Florida State. So that's pretty much all I have update wise on all of our teams that we like in college football. Another question we had, and if you're in the chat and you got a question that you want to throw out there, please put it in the chat because I would love to give it a shot at trying to answer it. It says usually defenses are ahead of the offenses. Is your team's offense close with the defense? Well, in the first scrimmage, our offense had some troubles, uh, and we know our offensive line is trying to gel right now. I'm talking about Texas. For those of you out there watching, um, Texas's offensive line was a work in progress. But like I told them on the show the other day, um, Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood are going to get that offensive line to where they need to be going into the season. They're gonna run offense and schemes that are best suited for the talent that they have on the offensive line, and we were able to see that in yesterday's scrimmage that the offense played a lot better in scrimmage 2 than they played in scrimmage 1. They were able to run the ball a lot more effectively. Now, when it got to the red zone in scrimmage 1, the offense did a lot better than the defense, but in scrimmage 2, the defense did a lot better. But overall, the offense has gotten a lot better and has caught up with the defense, which is really scary for teams um, because Texas defense is going to be really good. It was really really good last year, really, really good the past 2 or 3 years, much better than it was before Steve Sarkisian got here. And so, if the offense and the defense are complementary, Texas is going to be a really, really tough team to beat uh, when you play them for 60 minutes. So, as of yesterday's scrimmage, the offense has made some strides and is really, really close to the defense, which is, for Texas is really, really good. As far as those other teams are concerned, I'm not sure what they're looking like. I'm quite sure Michigan's defense is probably still ahead of their offense just simply because they got two young players that they're trying to work in there. Even though they got the transfer that transferred in who has some experience. I think their goal is to probably play the two young guys, get them up to speed for the future. So I will believe that Michigan's defense is probably ahead. Notre Dame's is probably pretty even because they got a good offensive line, they got good running backs, they got good wide receivers. They just got to get their quarterbacks where they need to be. And from what I'm hearing, Minchie might be that guy. So as far as Notre Dame is concerned, their offense is probably there. Of course, Ohio State's offense and defense are probably really, really close as well. With all the talent that Ohio State has on offense, they can definitely match up with their defense, even though their defense has a lot of talent as well. Florida State, I'm not 100% sure on because we all know the verdict is still out on Florida State. Even though we know they're going to have some talent, we won't know what they look like until we see them play. So if I had to make an opinion on Florida State, I would probably say they're both close because they're both a work in progress. Another question that we had out there is the Big Ten is talking about a 2018 college football playoff where 7 Big Ten teams, 7 SEC teams, 5 ACC teams, 5 Big 12 teams, and 2 Group of 5 teams get automatic bids. And then there will be 2 at-large bids totaling 28 teams. And they're asking, what's your thoughts? I A lot of people feel like there's not enough good teams out there that could even vie for a national championship. So why add all of these teams um, to a college football playoffs? And I get their point and I understand what they're saying, but the reality to me is we love college football. I want to see as much college football as I can. So if they want to go to a 2018 college football playoffs and you're going to get more home games because of it for teams, I'm all for it because I'm all for seeing really, really good college football. And I'm all for seeing college football, period. Those of us who love college football, we watch the lower level games, which is the group of 6 teams. We will watch games at the Division 2 level. We'll watch games at the Division 3 level. We'll go watch high school football. We'll go watch Little League football. It's football, and we want to watch it as much as we can. Those of us who love football and are football enthusiasts, we just want to watch football. So I'm okay with a 2018 and so what if Alabama has to beat up on somebody in the first round, or if Texas got to beat up on somebody in the first round? You think that team that they beat up on is going to go home and cry? No, they're going to be excited about the fact that they can say, listen, we made the 2018 playoff last year. They're going to be able to tell recruits, we need you to come here because we need you to help us because we can make it to the 2018 playoff and we could possibly upset a team that overlooks us. I'm all for all of that. It adds more Cinderella stories, which we all love. We see it in basketball all the time. We don't necessarily see it at that level in football, but there have been some major upsets every year. There's always a group of 16 that is beating a Power 4 team every year, multiple times throughout that year, because we've seen it time and time again. And I think it could possibly happen in the 2018 college football playoff. And I would like to see us go to that format. I'm okay with it because I want to see as much college football as possible. And I want to see as much meaningful college football as possible. So if they go to that format, and I applaud the Big Ten for jumping out in front and taking on these talks, and I'm quite sure they're going to pull the SEC in because the SEC is getting the same amount of teams in as them as an automatic bid. Now, I'm quite sure the ACC and the Big 12 are going to want to try to even that score up and say, hey, listen, why don't y'all get 6, we get 6, and all the Power 4 teams get 6. And I'm okay with that as well because the reality is you're still going to get really good quality football. And I'm quite sure that's going to probably be the pushback from the ACC and the Big 12. The group of 5, once the Pac-12 gets back up and running, they're probably going to want more than 2 teams as well. They're probably going to want more than what they're getting, and they're probably going to want some of those at-large bids so that way that they can leave out. They don't have to worry about leaving out anybody. They can get all 4 of those. They get their 2 bids and the 2 at-large bids to get them a total of 4 teams that can get in out of the group of 6, and they might be okay with that. So I think it's a really, really good idea. I'm quite sure that all of those conferences are going to sit down and discuss it because it's good for college football. And I think we see so many sporting events to where when it comes time for the playoffs, college football is the only one who does not have a large number of their teams vying for a championship. You see it in basketball, you see it in soccer, you see it in baseball, you see it in all the other sports except for football. You don't see as many teams. When you got 130 something odd teams in college football, but only 12 teams right now get a chance to vie for the championship. And that's just a small percentage. The last question I actually had on in the chat is this last one. Do you think the Power 4 conferences are discussing an exit from the NCAA? That's a really good question. If they're not having discussions, they have thoughts in their head that it's time to move away from the NCAA. There's no need to have a governing body that is not going to punish people for wrongdoing. Uh, I mean, in the case of Michigan, a lot of people feel like they should have got more than what they got. I wasn't one of those people. I feel like, I mean, everybody is trying to gain an advantage. Now, I don't agree with sending somebody on somebody's sideline if that's what they did to try to record signs and stuff. But I think within the game, you always should have somebody on your sideline trying to understand what plays you're calling so that they can gain an advantage. I think that's just what you're supposed to do. I mean, you watch film and get all that kind of information as well. So, I mean, I don't think there's any issue with that. I mean, I just don't think that somebody should be able to go on somebody else's sideline in disguise if that's what they did to get somebody's signs. But I just think the NCAA has had opportunities to do the right thing, and because of financial greed, they have not done that. They had a chance to get out in front of NIL, put something in place, but they didn't want to play the players at all. A video we did months ago, we found out information that North Carolina, some schools in North Carolina and the state of North Carolina wanted to start playing their athletes. And this politicians who wanted to do this for the state of North Carolina. He wanted to be out front. He wanted to be the guy who set this thing in motion. And the NCAA came to his office and told him, absolutely not. Cease and desist. We will never play players. 5 years later, what we looking at? We're looking at the NCAA had a chance to do the right thing, to get out in front of this thing. And even now, even though they're paying this buyout or whatever it is with the 2.8 million to each team, um, they had an opportunity, man, to really be able to set things right, and then the NCAA could be in a good position today had they done what they needed to do when it was time for them to do it. I mean, if you go way back and you look at what they did to SMU, that was probably a little bit too much to get them the death penalty. But they should have got something for what they did, but they probably shouldn't have got the death penalty. So back then, they were a little bit too harsh. Now, they don't have any teeth. And they didn't have the testicle, they didn't have the testicular fortitude to do what they needed to do to pay these players when they knew they were sitting on stacks and stacks of money. So now you wait till the courts get involved, and now you want to do the right thing, or you have to do the right thing now. And I think the NCAA has had many opportunities to do the right thing. So if I'm a Power Four conference commissioner, I'm placing phone calls to all of the other Power Four commissioners, to all the Group of Five commissioners, and I'm saying, listen, I understand that we need to get together and we need to start writing rules and laws and punishments for some of the things that might take place in our game so that we can be ahead of it. If you do this, and then this is the consequence for doing that. So you can let them know you don't want to do these things because your team is going to be punished because of it. And I think that that's something that they need to do and not be worried so much about the money that's going to be lost. Because in the reality is, we're going to watch college football. We're going to go in the stadiums and we're going to pay ticket prices. Um, it's just the way that it is. We love to be entertained by the game of football. So I think that all those Power Four conferences, if they haven't started discussions, which I'm quite sure they've closed the door in certain situations where I'm quite sure the Big Ten commissioner has had a conversation with the SEC commissioner and had some conversations about getting away from the NCAA. I'm quite sure that the ACC and the Big 12 commissioner has had some conversations about, hey, what can we do to better our conferences? And maybe we need to get away from the NCAA. I'm quite sure that they're all doing those things because the reality is the NCAA has had its opportunity to make some things happen, and they just have not done it. And because of it, they have lost their leverage, they have lost their teeth, and they're not being taken seriously. And the thing that I don't want to see, but I know is probably going to happen, is conferences and teams and organizations are probably just going to go ahead and do whatever it is they want to do, and they're going to be like, "What you going to do about it, NCAA?" And I don't like for necessarily rebellion unless you physically harming somebody. Then of course they should rebel. But I think that those organizations should be able to sit down and iron out whatever those differences are, so that they can have some common ground that they can work from, instead of having mass mutiny. But I'm quite sure that organizations and teams and conferences are going to start doing whatever it is that they want to do, and they're going to tell the NCAA what you're going to do about it. Which we already know that the NCAA is not going to be able to do anything about it because they ain't got no teeth. So, Coach Prime, if you want to go scrimmage somebody next season, go ahead and do it. Or anybody else that wants to go scrimmage, you might as well go ahead and do it, because the NCAA, you can tell them, listen, I'm going to go scrimmage so and so and so and so, and I know you're saying we shouldn't do this, but listen, we're trying to improve our product. So we would like for you to get on board with what we're trying to do. We're not trying to do anything malicious. We're not trying to be disrespectful, but we feel like we should be able to go in scrimmage teams so that our team is always seeing this our defenses and our offenses throughout all of fall camp. We would like to go scrimmage a team or two, even if it's inside our state where we don't have to travel far. We don't have to do a whole bunch of uh, spending money on hotels and stuff like that. We could easily get on the bus, drive 2 hours to go scrimmage a school that's close to us. And I think that would be a great thing for them to do, because they don't have to travel across country to do that. That's something they can do in a day or in a 2-day process and have a good time, and have some rules and game strategy there that can keep players from being hurt or out there being malicious. So I think that would be a good idea. And if there's some other things that they want to do, as far as whatever it may be, they can just let the NCAA look, this is what we would like to do. We would like for you to be on board with it. Um, so that's why we're coming to you right now to let you know this is what we would like to do. We would like for you to back us on it so that the NCAA can start to gain back some of their integrity. But those are all the questions I had. If I don't have any other questions in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show by letting everybody know to tune in to WTP Sports Dudes. We go every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:45, and every Saturday at 10 a.m., which will be moving to 8 a.m. because we don't want to interfere with college game day. We know everybody at 9 o'clock Eastern time want to be able to tune in to college game day. So we're going to go at 8 o'clock in the morning and go for about 45 minutes to an hour so that you can get to see college game day. Or if you watch the other channel, the Fox channel, when they come on, we don't want to interfere with that. And then we'll be on at Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Like we do like we do now. Like you see this morning, this is the 9 a.m. show, Talking Sports Sunday. So we'll continue to do that. We'll probably start adding some other days in as well, because as Thursday rolls around, when we start getting those Thursday NFL games and we start getting those Thursday college games, we don't want to interfere with that. And of course, Monday Night Football might be another day that we're off, but Wednesday might become a prominent day for us here during the football season. So always be looking out for notifications from YouTube on our channels, WTP Sports Dudes, Level Up Sports 10, FanDuel Zaya, Blitzburg, and Post Game Podcast, which you see strolling across the bottom. Please make sure that you subscribe to all those channels, share our videos. Please like and subscribe. Pick comments in there. Let us know how you think we're doing, how we can improve, what we need to do to grow our channel, because we really, really, really love doing what we do. But we want to do it to the liking of the people who support us, the fans who watch us, and everybody out there that likes to watch football shows or sports shows. So we appreciate you tuning in. I thank you so very much. Please remember to hit that like button before you go out, and also leave a comment if you would like about how well you think we're doing. I appreciate you all for tuning in. And until next time, peace.